Hello, everyone. Happy Monday morning. It's my birthday. Yay. But not that it matters. Okay. I'm sure you've heard the news that Pope Francis died. And of course, so you may not have heard that. You know it now, but you probably do know that yesterday, Vance, who Trump sends because Trump can't leave the country, but he sends Vance to do all these things. Of course, Vance is like just a complete bumbling idiot, in my opinion. Not fact, but I feel like he's just a big jerk and a bumbling idiot. And anyway, 45 sends him. So, and he goes and he forces his way. And the Pope said, I don't want to meet with you. I have a moral stand against what you do, what the Trump administration does. You are cruel to immigrants and women and the gay community and refugees and Gaza and all of that, and you're very cruel, and I do not stand with you. In fact, I'm taking a moral stand and I'm not meeting with you. So what does J.D. Vance do? He forces, this makes me so angry, he forces his way in there and meets Pope Francis, and then Pope Francis dies. Now, it's that whole syndrome of everything Trump touches dies. But also, literally, the first thing I thought was, oh my God, they killed him. They killed him. Like, what do they do? Have like anthrax on him? Or, it just makes you wonder. Is it just their horrible, nasty energy? But I almost feel like, why did he force himself in there? And you know what's funny is that before, okay, so wasn't it just here right after the inauguration where the Pope started to get sick? But he survived. And then now this, and somebody was saying it's part of Project 2025 for them to get rid of Pope Francis and to put in one of their loyalists who would help them with Project 2025 for entertainment purposes only, not fact. But it really makes you wonder. It really makes you wonder because literally the Pope was doing okay. Now, that's the bad side, right? That's the negative. So let's try to stay positive. The Pope did appoint his own people before he died. He has a temporary guy that's going to act as Pope. So what do you call that? An interim. And then he already has a lineup that he chose. So, and of course he was very ethical. He was the most ethical Pope that I've ever heard of. I grew up Catholic, so I know some things about this, and I would say that Pope Francis was the most ethical, compassionate, close to the teachings of Christ that we've ever seen. So I have faith that he picked a lineup of good people. It's just, but just the energy, just if nothing else, if nothing intentional happened, just the energy of Trump and his people is so like the Antichrist. Tell me they're not the Antichrist. I mean, seriously, there's something wrong there. And look at how we were talking about with Dr. Oz and his granddaughter, how she literally barfed in Trump's presence because his energy is so nasty. Anyway, moving on from that, let me just say this intuitively, on a positive note. I feel like it did end an era, but in a good way. And because, hopefully I'm not wrong about this, because what are you going to do anyway? What are you going to do anyway? Looking at the positive, I feel, the other thing I felt was, oh, well, it ended that era of 45. Because I actually feel since yesterday, there's been a huge decline. You notice that with the protests, let me line this up. 45 said, I'm going to have martial law on April 20th, on Easter Sunday. Didn't happen. And we all knew it wouldn't happen. But of course, he likes to torment us and put that fear in us. So, but it didn't happen. And also the whole thing with Harvard, he's backed down from that. And he's even said, oh, well, I didn't mean to send that letter. Why'd you even write it? No, he meant to send it. He was mad because they wouldn't let Barron in. So there's a lot of things where 45 is backing down, the tariffs, etc. He's backing down. Yes, is he trying to replan? But the main thing is he's backing down. The Supreme Court stood up to him and will continue to stand up to him. And he's backing down. He's losing power. I really feel there's an energetic planetary shift, and 45 is losing power. He really is. So this era of him is finally coming to an end. And for all we know, it could be planetary. So the Pope, he dies. That to me signals a huge shift and a huge change. And I feel it's the downfall of 45. I just thought of Uten in The Country with R, his downfall, and then also Frump's downfall. I really feel that there's a huge shift happening right now. Doesn't mean that things aren't still bad. We still have to deal with a lot of the residue of what the damage that he's caused in such a short amount of time. But I do feel that the shift has happened. And okay, so here's the thing. So since the inauguration, 45 has caused almost like a spell. Like I talked about the upside down. That's what I was trying to say, the upside down. And we've been in the upside down. Well, I feel like we're finally close to the surface of the right side again. And also Kamala showed up yesterday and she said, I'm coming back, or something like that. I feel like there's going to be a lot now that comes out about in fact, I just read yesterday, I don't know if I posted, but I saw this thing yesterday where they said that Starlink employees are talking about what Leland did to steal the election, and they're coming out, whistleblowers are coming out about his part in that. And you notice that Leland is hiding right now. Okay, so I feel like we're finally, things have flipped. So when we were in the upside down, notice the Pope was sick, and then everyone thought he was going to die, and a lot of things that people were predicting were not happening because we were in the upside down. Well, I feel like we're finally at the right side again, and a lot of people's predictions will actually happen. So we're finally at the part where we're not in a stranglehold in the upside down anymore. And I know that's weird, but that's really what I feel. And the Pope, his death, like, put us back on the right side, if that makes any sense at all. Now, how would you like to be Vance? Vance, who has said immigrants, Democrats, etc., he's called us unhumans. Therefore, we deserve to be robbed of all our money, Social Security, benefits, veterans, etc., food for children, money for children, health care, immigrants, blah, 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 blah. He called us unhumans. So how would you like to be the Pope? And you get to go tell God, to the mouth of God, the last person you met, you're putting a word in against them. Not that God doesn't know. Anyway, if I was Vance, I'd be worried. I'd be really worried. Can you imagine the karma of being part of, just like energetically, and just by defying and being a rude a-hole and defying the word of the Pope, the most holy man on the planet, really, technically. And they die. The Pope dies. That's like a stain on you forever. I would be horrified. I would be horrified. Anyway, I'll stop this. I'm rambling a lot, and Coco's here, and I need to go get ready. Coco could just be lovey-dovey all day. I'm not joking. All day. And I would never get anything done, but I have to get ready for the day. And so, you guys have a beautiful day. Take care. Thanks for listening to my crazy ramblings. But seriously, no, the first thing I thought was they killed the Pope. They did something energetic, some sort of energy weapon, chemical, just their own energy vibe, who knows. And then I thought, no, but it's the end of an era, and that's a good thing, because now we move on, and we can go to back to the right side. And I really feel that's happening. So thanks for listening. Bye.